You know what? I think I just bombed an interview this week. Typically, I pass the HR screening with no problem, but I think this time I just screwed up. And I want to share what happened because from this experience, I got 4 lessons here that might save you from doing the same thing. So the first mistake I made was losing momentum. I know this is kind of weird for me to say because I literally coach people on interviews. I know exactly how to prepare for an interview from 0 to 1. Like I can take someone from 0 to 1, tell their stories, craft their whole strategy. But during the past 2 months, I was just so busy with different projects and I was coaching. I was also traveling for a little bit and I haven't got a chance to interview for such a long time. That's the reason I got extremely rusty in interviews, especially like first round interviews, because I was having a lot of these casual chat, but I really haven't talked to a recruiter for a long time. And I think this whole experience reminds me of something very important, is that interviewing is a skill. You got rusty really quickly and you lose the momentum if you don't practice. So I'd say even if you're not serious or active in job search at the moment, like you're working on a job or you're working on something right now, you can still do like 1 or 2 interviews every month. I think that's a worth investment of your time and just in case, right? And then my second mistake was not having a clear story from my introduction. And that was for the first question, tell me about yourself, or like walk me through a resume. And usually I have a very tight and structured pitch for this question. But recently I just been experimenting new ways to tell my story, like kind of frame things in a different way and using a different narrative. But I haven't got it fully prepared. It's like I haven't written it down and practiced my script. So what ended up happening was during this interview, this new story didn't really feel like it was pretty natural to me. So I kind of just, when I was telling it, I was kind of mixing this new story with my old way, which kind of feels weird. So I was rambling a little bit and there's no structure, no highlights. And also I found myself kind of talking in circle. I think this is a very common thing people experience when they're interviewing. It's not even a language thing. It's not about my English level. I think this is something that can happen also in my first language if I was not fully prepared. Some people think introductions are pretty straightforward and easy, which I agree if you do it in an easy way. Like it's pretty easy if you just ramble chronologically, like you kind of follow this time order, be like, here's what I studied in university, here's what I did after graduating, the first year and the second year I was working here in this company and now I'm on this company working on this project, right? Like, of course you can do that, but I think this whole thing would just feel not very interesting. You don't necessarily show your authenticity and uniqueness. It's just pretty mediocre. I think the lesson here is really know your intro story and prepare it, and also being able to deliver it conversationally, like not making people feel that you're just reciting a script. And then mistake number 3 is missing details. So actually details are everything in an interview, especially when you're telling your story. So when asked about some of my experience and something I have done in the past, and just because I wasn't fully prepared, there was something I actually want to talk about, but haven't given proper thoughts into it. It's like, I talk about this, but then I couldn't remember a lot of the details on the spot. So when I was answering those, I had to give like a higher level generic answer and also use some buzzwords to fill up my answer. The story without those details kind of just feels made up. Like they don't feel real, they don't feel specific. It's like if I ask you some of your achievements in high school, you might tell me that you won a case competition or you won a coding competition or whatever. But that's just in one sentence answer. I need more details. If you haven't really thought about that, you might not know what details to talk about. It's like, this is what preparation comes in. And the most ironic part was when I was interviewing, when I was coaching, when I hear people giving me like a buzzword heavy answer without enough details, I'll just immediately think, oh, this person is full of shit. Like he's just making things up on the spot. But in this interview, I ended up sounding exactly like this, which is kind of funny. So the lesson here is, and actually this is something I do when I'm working with my client, is to mentally walk through your key stories ahead of time. Like just go through those stories in your head. So in an interview, when you actually have to talk about those things, you can easily and also naturally pull those details instead of just fluffing. And my last mistake, which is actually a pretty profound and subtle one, is I was using the wrong language for my audience. And what I mean by that is you really have to do some research and give some thoughts on who you're talking to, like who your audiences are, and use the language that makes sense to them, that resonate with them. And just because for the past few months, I was chatting with so many people that's not from the traditional corporate background. It's like creators, founders, and like entrepreneurs that's running their business. For these people, they love ambiguity, they love scrappiness, They value something from 0 to 1. They are pretty result driven and they don't really follow rules. They like being unstructured. So these are kind of the language I was naturally using when I was doing that interview. But something I overlooked was this was a corporate HR coming from a big tech firm. So literally different vibe, different world. Corporate HR wants something that's more structured, polished, those corporate framing, corporate language. And literally halfway through my interview, I could tell that she was not really impressed and she couldn't resonate with a lot of things that I said. And it wasn't really because the stories and experiences I walked through was not relevant or impressive. It's more like I didn't use the language that properly resonate with her. Like the way I frame certain things does not make sense to her. So the biggest lesson here is whoever you're talking to, you always have to think about code switch. It's like you can't just tell your stories and experiences in one static way. You have to make it more dynamic. It's like think about the person you're talking to. Are they like more serious and formal and corporate, like someone that's, for example, working in finance for 20 years of their career, or you're talking to someone that dropped out of college and start their own business, never wear suits ever in their life. Like when you're talking to these two different people, you're telling your story, you're introducing yourself. Even if your story is the same, you're gonna have to do it in different ways. So something I got really good at from coaching over 100 people since last year was I can spot an interview answer, good or bad, very quickly. It's like I'm hyper aware and I can immediately tell what's missing from this particular answer from a good one. But it's kind of funny, this backfired at my own interviews. It's like when I was interviewing, during the interview when words started leaving my mouth, immediately I was like, oh, that was actually a garbage answer. Or like, oh, this is exactly what I told my clients to avoid. But still, I think experiences and lessons like this are great reminders for myself. It's like they keep me sharp and remind me how easy it is to slip and how important preparation really is. So if you struggle with any of these and you have an upcoming interviews, or if you're looking for some personal support, feel free to check out my page for contact, or if you want to chat about your personal case. But anyways, I hope this experience is helpful and it's a great reference for you. Or if you find it a little entertaining, let me know in the comments if you have any moments like this when you're interviewing. I'd love to hear your stories. And I'll see you guys in the next. Cheers.